Welcome back to Game and Crafts. I'm Kelly. This is my game room. Let's play. Today we are doing our Easter makes, and I've decided to do two different types of makes with very similar mediums. When the kid was a little, we used to get for her a lot of for her Easter basket sidewalk chalk, sidewalk paint, those kinds of things that would get her out of the house now that spring was here and be able to play out in the sun. Well, she's older now. And when I mentioned to her that I was going to be doing this project, she said, "Ooh, sidewalk chalk." So I'm making some sidewalk chalk and I'm using plaster of Paris. And I'm going to be doing them in, and this was her suggestion, eggs, because she said it's good for little kid hands to be able to use the eggs. She didn't think that using an animal shape would be good, only because she said the more you use it, the smaller it gets, and your, art should not kill the animal. So I have already pre-measured my eggs. This came as a set of 3. I also have a larger egg that comes with it. The smallest one is 80 milliliters. The medium size is 130. So both of those good hand size for littles that are going to be drawing on your sidewalk, driveway, what have you. So I'm going to measure out the plaster of Paris. In addition to our chalk for the littles, we also are going to make hostess gifts for our adults, and those will be these here. And we're not using the plaster of Paris for these. These will be probably mixed to mold. Bunnies, heart bunnies. So those come after the chalk. So we make, because the chalk takes longer to make, because it has to completely dehydrate. You have to get all that moisture out of there before you can give it to the littles. So even after you take it out of the mold, for me, I would either leave it sitting out for several days, or in my case, because I don't have several days to wait, I'm going to throw it in my food dehydrator, and it'll probably be done in a few hours, because it's not a very high heat. So yeah, we did a test case, and when we did it, we actually ended up. I put it in the food dehydrator for a couple hours after it had firmed up. I put it in food dehydrator for a couple hours, and then it sat overnight, and it was still, my test pieces were still moist after having come out of the mold. Now, because they were sat in the dehydrator for a couple hours in the mold. And so we ended up having to, the next day after it was completely done. Okay, sorry. I'm going to kind of get all the big clumps out of here before I call that measurement good. So anyway, the next day, they still, after they had been demolded, they were still moist. I put them back in the dehydrator for, I think it was like 3 more hours, completely dry. And then the kid went out and tested it to make sure. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't steering you wrong. I wanted to make sure that what we were using was going to be completely washable off the surface of the sidewalk, driveway, what have you. So I need 130 milliliters for the big one. Total, we know that you have to put more than 130 because it's going to shrink down when you add the liquid. Now I'm doing this to try and get all the air out, and to try and get all the big clumps out, to get as close to the measurement as possible. So that puts me right at 130. I'm just going to put a tad bit more, and then I'm going to put it in a cup. That's going to be for my larger mold. Just put that back there. Now this one, I need 80. So I'm going to measure to 80. Actually, I think I'll measure to 90. Again, getting my clumps out. Using the plaster of Paris, keeping in mind, it is very similar to the mix to mold and the perfect cast. You should be using a mask. It is a powder that will fly around when you're mixing it and messing with it. So keep that in mind. We're using today tempera paint to color our plaster. So what I need is, I'm going to do, I think I'll do the small one first. And we're doing that one in red. So we have red tempera paint. And believe it or not, this is left over for when the kid was in school. The school, she was online school, distance learning. The school would send her art supplies every year that she took art, and they just sat in the closet there. Because I think they did like one project using it, and then the rest of it just sat there. I am done measuring, so I'm going to move my measuring cup back into the bag to keep it with my plaster for the next time around. And you know me, I have to pour my water small or I will mess up. Start this way and see how we go. I'm going to be mixing with a fork because just like when I use mix to mold or perfect cast, it will get most of those lumps and clumps out when I need it. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to put the water. So we discovered something interesting when we did our test. And in this particular case, I did do a test. Most of the time when I do stuff with y'all, it's the first time I'm doing it. And I'm doing it because then we'll see together if it works or if it doesn't. In this case, I wanted to make sure that the recipe I was using would work and the colors would wash off my sidewalk before I suggested it to you. So we discovered, here I am mixing this, and I'm going to get it loose because I want it nice and loose in there. But we discovered that when you add the paint, it tightens it up like instantly. So I had a very nice mixture, probably thinner than this, added the paint in, and you would think, oh, it's liquid. It's going to make it more liquidy. Nope, it tightened it up. So we actually added a little more water after the fact. And you can see I went from solid to almost like a pudding stage fairly quickly there without adding too much water. That actually, what I just did might have been a little too much. But we will see since I have to add the paint. I'm trying to get down, make sure I get down to the bottom of the cup because there's that little ridge on the bottom, right? All these plastic cups have little ridges. And making sure I scrape my bottoms on my side. Okay, so that's nice. Now I have my paint. Pop the top. Give it a squirt. Come on. Okay. Now this is not going to be a bright, bright red because what you're mixing it into changes the color, right? So, you add as much paint as you want. If I left it like this, we'd have a pink one, kind of. Right now it's not completely mixed, but if I left it this way, it would be pink. But kid didn't want pink. Kid wanted red. So I will add more paint. Oh, I see. The bottle is clogged. I was like, why is it not pouring? That's why. I'm like, why did my hand suddenly feel wet? Well, because the bottle was clogged and it squirted out the bottom instead of on the top. So, wipe that out. Otherwise, it's going to be a mess the next time I use it. Not trying to get it all out, just the stuff that's by the threads. I'll close it. And then I will wash it down. That's the great thing about tempera paint. It's washable. But in the meantime, get it off my hands. Let's hope that that's enough paint because I don't want... See how tight it got? Look. So I'm going to add some more water. It's more like a paste, and I don't want that. So I'm going to add a bit more. Now, keeping in mind, the more water you add, the longer it's going to take to dry out and dehydrate. But that's okay because for me, I'm using the food dehydrator. And just by the name alone, you know what's going to happen. Okay. I want it a little looser because I want to be able to pour it into my mold without having to struggle. Oops. See, the struggle is real. Yeah, and that tightness is all from adding the paint in, which was just so interesting to me. I'm like, somebody has to know why that happens. I don't. If you know, let me know in the comments below. It's just so interesting to me. Okay, so that's starting to tighten up, like no matter how much water I'm putting in. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in our mold. Oop. Scoot that over. Yeah, that's not going to work. I got to add more water. I got to. I think that second time I dropped the paint in was just a little much for the plaster. So I know this is going to take quite a while to dehydrate. I'm okay with that. This is not a one-day project. And you might be asking yourself, why did she just dump all that water in there? Well, because I still have some of the plaster in here that I forgot to dump back in the cup. I want to get that incorporated. And the only way to do that is to loosen it up base. Okay, much better. And everybody in the pool. Now, these are silicone molds. The first time we did it with a cardboard mold that I saw an interesting video on. If I can, I will link the channel below. Oh, did you see the bubble come up? Wow. Okay, I have a lot left. I think I might have overcalculated this one. Now I'm looking and I do not see any bubbles on the air gaps on the bottom. If I'm going to have an extra egg, I'll do a mix of whatever the two colors are. It'll be big, but little hands love big things. Have you ever noticed for pre-K and K, they have them using these giant crayons, and I never realized why. It's easier for them, their dexterity, to use the bigs. Let's see if we can get all this in there. Don't want to waste it. If I can scrape it out and put it in the big one, then we'll just have an extra. It'll be like a multicolored one. Or I could have added a different color to it and changed the color, and then we would have had 3 different color eggs, but that's okay. At this point, it's getting tight. I don't want to add any more water. You can see air bubbles coming up over there. That's fine. I'd rather have it come up than be trapped in there. I wipe out my cup. Although, to be fair, it's going to turn into chalk, so if you just leave it alone, you can just empty it out after the fact. Oh, squeeze it and get it out of there. Satin acrylic paint. And this one is in bright blue. Hopefully we get a nice color off of that. I was kind of wondering if I could mix the paint into the water and then, it would be easier to do that way. I don't know. Kind of don't feel like messing with it too much today. This cup is actually kind of small to be mixing this in, this amount. So I'm gonna move it to my bigger dinosaur cup. And these are just Glad party cups. Found it at Walmart or something like that. Okay, water goes in. This is a much bigger amount than the other, so I started out with a bigger amount of water because it's going to get tight fast. I haven't played with plaster of Paris since the kid was in school, like elementary school. Can't remember. We did some project for art that required plaster of Paris, and I haven't played with this since. In fact, we had a big bucket. I don't know what happened to it. It disappeared into the void. So I'm getting down to the bottom of the cup and scraping it and pulling it towards the center. May get any lumps, bumps. And in order to avoid all of that extra tightness, I'm just going to add a little bit of extra water, make it looser than I actually really want it to be, because we know that the paint is going to tighten it up. The paint tightens it up like instantly. I am so sorry if I was off camera. Trying something new, trying to bring me closer to the camera because my camera doesn't have a good zoom on it. So I'm working on a shelf. I always want to work closer to my body, and that's not a good thing. Okay, so here comes well, you know what? Let's assume that that's clogged too, probably. Oh, that was a little liquidy. I'm going to be giving it a good shaky shake. Oh, that's better. Yeah. You definitely see the difference in the color. Okay, and the blue goes in. Well, that's a pretty blue. Now, my understanding is you can also do this using mica powder. Or, Okay, it was a pretty blue. Now it's more like a gray, and that's not what I want. So I'm going to add more blue. But I want to make sure that this stuff is mixed in good first. Kind of like all on the side of the cup. Now, as with mix to mold, as with perfect cast, when it dries, the color will change a bit. And that's okay. Now that's getting tight, so I'm going to add a little bit of water. Okay, I think that's good. Move that out of the way before I spill it. And we all know I will spill it. Okay. I'm going to do the tap tap. Oh. Now that is not full. So, yep, that is absolutely not full. And I still have a half an egg over there to fill. So what I'm going to do is off camera, I will mix up some more to add to this blue and get these put aside. And then I will set up for my hostess gift of bunnies. And we will see you back in just a minute. See you in a bit. We're back, and what I have measured out here is perfect cast, strictly because I'm out of mixed mold. So I'm going to be using perfect cast to make my hostess gifts, which are these adorable bunny molds. It's a family of bunnies. They're wet because I measured them using water. Now the biggest one takes about 4 ounces, and these two take about 3.5 each. So I went ahead and I measured it out for 4, 4, and 4.5 as far as powder goes, because you know it's going to shrink down when I add the water. I'm going to be making yellow using the amazing HydroCast pigment. Yellow, green, and this cup is already green because I had done mix to mold using mica powder before. What you do is you mix your water with your mica powder and then use that to mix your mix to mold. Now what happens is it lightens up very much. I mean, it turns it pastel. I noticed that with these aquacast colors, not so much. A little bit, but not as much as if you do it using mica powder. However, these do stain. Now, once they're dried and you seal them, because I usually seal them using Rust-Oleum 2 times clear. If not that, then I'll use the Minwax polyacrylic in clear and seal it using that. Once they have completely dried, you can go ahead and do that. And then the color will not run. It's not going anywhere. The last one I'm going to try to do purple. Now, if you saw my Valentine's video, I did way too much and it came out really dark. So I'm going to try just like 1 drop each and see where we're at. We're going to do the yellow first, and I'm going to make that the biggest bunny. I'm going to make a well, and I'm going to pour my water, and I'm using a fork, scraping the side and pulling it in towards the center, because that's where all the water is. Try to get down to the bottom because you don't want your powder getting stuck in that little well down there that they put on the bottom of cups. I don't know why they do it. Could somebody explain to me why they do it? I mean, if it has to do with stability, okay, but it doesn't seem any more or less stable than a cup that doesn't have that little groove at the bottom. That is the one good thing about using the fork, is that you can get those tines right down into that edge and get the try to get that dry powder out of there. Oh, definitely going to need more water. Now, as you know, it's a 3-to-1. 2 parts powder to 1 part water. However, I don't measure it like that. I measure it by feel. Once you play with it enough, you can kind of tell, okay, this is completely mixed. Okay, this is too tight. It's going to need a little bit more water. And of course, the more detail your mold has, like say something like this, which has a ton of detail, if you were using perfect cast or mixed mold, you would have to add more water because you need it to get down into those nooks and crannies. This, not so much, because it's one solid piece that goes around the heart. Okay, so that's my mix for the yellow, and I like it. So what I'm going to do, I don't want to get color all over my fork because I'm going to use my fork for all colors, Shaky, shaky, shaky. And I guess I will use one of these little doohickeys that come whenever you buy stuff. I am going to take off my little ring because that always causes trouble. Let's start with 3 drops. Yellow is a weird color to me because it either is really good and vibrant and lovely, or it gets sucked in and disappears. Now, when I dropped it in, it looked really good and lovely, but that's not yellow enough for me. I can still see the natural color of 4 more of the Perfect Cast, which is not at all what I'm looking for. I want a sunshiny, evoking spring, lemony yellow. That's a little better. I don't. No, more. Oh, yeah. That's what I want to see. I want to see that really bright, vibrant yellow. I don't know that it'll work. This is the first time I've used the yellow, so I don't know. Kid, can you come see this, please? Do you think I need to add more yellow?
That
is in fact yellow.
Yes, it is yellower than the spoon.
Do you want more yellow or leave it alone yellow?
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone, Mom.
Leave it alone, Mom.
Okay, so this is the big bunny. So let's cover this before I knock it over, because I am me, I will knock it over. Okay, we're going to do big bunny first. Oops. Spoon. Yeah, that would be bad.
Hi, Pepsi. Hi, Pepsi. Oh.
He was waiting for you.
I can see that.
Yeah. But that is a nice yellow. Okay, now remember, I measured out 4.5 ounces of powder. And then I added the water, and 4 should have filled it. So that tells you how much it shrinks, because it's not full. But here's the problem. If I try to match that color, it's not going to work. So I think I'll just leave it alone. What do you think, kid? It's not going to be as thick. And I'm probably going to run into the same problem with the others.
I think that's okay, though.
Yeah. And I'll just have to trim it a bit, because you know how when you don't fill it all the way, you get that little lip of sharpness. So I will leave it like that. I'm going to leave it like that. Yep. That's what I am. I am going to leave it like that. I'm going to wipe off my tools because I'm going to use them again on the next bunny. You can see some bubbles coming up. You know, you give it a tap, give it a shake, give it a shimmy. I'm going to go right around this heart with my... So I'm seeing little bubbles come up. Blow on it. Seriously. Until it sets. If you just blow on it, they'll pop. And if they don't, then you just take something like this, which is my scribe, or even a silicone tool, and just little bloop. Okay. Bunny number 1 in the can. And
no, in the mold.
In the mold. Can mold. Okay.
Candle.
You know what? This is actually a candle mold. Right? So these are matte. These are actually candle molds, and these are not matte. It's shiny. What? I swear they were matte. Oh well, whatever. If they come, it's not going to come out shiny because it's mixed to mold. I mean, Perfect Cast. But if you're doing it in resin, it's weird. They look shiny to me. I could have sworn they were matte. Oh well, doesn't matter. They are candle molds, or at least that's how they're marketed. And no, I don't want to poke a hole in the top of its head because it's a bunny, and that would be sad. Okay, so this one's going to be the green. I'm going to pull that ring off before I make messes. And this has, now the mold takes 3.5. So I have here 4. We'll see. I thought for sure I was going to have leftovers from the yellow. And in fact did not have enough. So that's interesting to me. See, scraping the sides, getting in that little groove on the bottom. I can feel that big clump of powder right in there. So I'm kind of pushing it up against the side and then scraping it back down. Now, if you've worked with mix to mold, you know that there is no smell. You work with Perfect Cast, there is a slight smell, but these, the Amazing Hydrocast pigments, there is a smell. It's not super chemically, but enough that you're going, I can see the difference in that.
there is a smell, but not as bad as the time that you tried to put candle colorant in mixed.
Oh, that was horrible.
The finished make was stinky.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Leave your candle colorant with your candle making stuff. Do not try to use it in mix to mold.
Don't try this at home, folks.
I did that before I started recording things, so that's why you haven't seen it. Because otherwise, I would show it to you. Okay.
Lies.
No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because that's how many yellows it took. You know, it seemed to me that the green was thicker. The pigment was thicker coming out of the bottle than the yellow was. So I'm scraping because the color like all went to the side. This is not a true, like a dark green. If I wanted a dark green, I could have used my acrylic ink, which I know mixed to mold takes acrylic ink really well. But you do have to use quite a bit of it if you want a dark color. Now, the color that we used was it dark sage?
I think so.
Yeah. So it was nice and dark, a nice dark green, more like a olive green, I guess. But this is like a tealy green. Last bunny is going to be a challenge because last bunny I want to be purple. Kid.
Yeah.
Do you think the tempera paint? We've never tried that, have we? No, we did. It bubbled, right?
Yeah, it didn't work.
Okay. This is supposed to take 3.5. Again, I measured 4. This one was supposed to take 3.5, and I measured 4. So we start see. Okay, rings are off of that one already. I will open them, but leave them. Are you guys having fun?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm playing with the fluff on his paws.
You're playing with the fluff on his paws. And he's letting you too.
Yeah. Like he pulls away his paws and then he puts them back and he's smiling.
Have y'all seen Pepsi's smile? We did a spotlight on Pepsi in a short a little bit ago. And he has the cutest smile. And he does the happy eyes.
He's got the cutest smile, baby.
He does. And he does the happy eyes. He shows you when he's happy. And the thing is, they're like, oh, he's not smiling, right? He's smiling because as he's doing it, his tail is wagging like a nutcase.
Like a what?
Like a nutcase. In fact, he doesn't wag his tail. His tail wags him. I think I put a little bit too much water in this one. It just seems really watery. Do you think I should add some more?
Can't you just, like, wait?
Yes, I absolutely can. It's not that. I mean, you know.
Like, it's not like resin when you put too much A.
Right. It will cure. It'll just take longer. All right. So let's start with the blue because I'm going to do 2 drops of blue. Should I do 1 drop of red? Because the red is like, let's try 1 drop of red and then see. We'll go from there. Okay, 2 drops of blue, 1 drop of red. Wow, the blue is really dark. I should have done it maybe the other way around. Well, let's see. As you can see, it's all stuck on the side of the cup. So if I scrape it and get it well incorporated. Okay, I need your opinion. It's definitely not as dark as that mistake I made the other day.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, for Valentine's Day, I meant. So what do you think? More red?
Yeah.
1 more red?
Yeah, because it kind of looks... Excuse me.
Oh, that's an air bubble. Come on. Okay. Actual color went in the cup.
Wowza!
Imagine that. Okay, so you were saying it kind of looked like a what?
Like cotton kid.
Cotton candy blue?
To me, at least. Like, hello there, Pepsi. He ran away.
Okay, what do you think?
I don't know. It's so
More red?
blue.
More red. A little bit more red.
We just need an actual purple colorant.
I do. I need a good purple colorant. Okay.
Wow.
That was more air than anything else, I swear.
Oh, someone wanted to.
All right. And he's back.
He said, "You are not going to close that door on me."
All right. I don't know. Well, look at my finger. That's purple.
What creature did you stab?
Do you remember that season of Supernatural where the Biggerson's turducken sandwich
Yes, that's exactly what
ooze?
it is.
That's kind of the ooze, the purple ooze. But I think we're going to stick with this. Definitely no more blue. That blue is strong. Just FYI, if you decide to try that. That blue is very strong. Okay, here we go with Tall Bunny. And again, when I measured this, it was like 3.5 ounces of water. So I went with 4. Okay, and this, like the yellow, is a little short. So I must have mismeasured the green one. I mean, it's not as short as the yellow. Look at that. Not all the red mixed in. The tips of his ears are red and the bottom of his feet are red. I'm going to try and get that mixed in, but I don't know that it's going to do anything. These cups need to be cleaned out. I'm going to let them dry and then clean them out that way. Wow. I mean, really, really not mixed in. I'm trying to pull any bubbles, but I'm also trying to move that red away from the edges because that's just really interesting to me. Kid?
Huh?
Look at this.
Oh, yeah, that is not mixed. What is that chunk? Oh, that's a heart.
That's a heart.
Okay, I thought, because...
No, I just tripped on the heart. They all have chunks.
Well, I didn't notice. Okay. I am inattentive. Weird that it didn't mix very well.
It is weird that it didn't mix very well. Maybe that's indicative of I put too much red.
Either that or they're not meant to be mixed, maybe?
Well, that's just, yeah. I kid you not, I will be investing in some colorant that is strictly meant for eco resins. The Hydrocast is different. It's not just add water. There is it's water, but there is also a catalyst that you use. So I don't know. Hopefully the red only stays on the back and the edge and not unmixed like that throughout, because that would look really weird. That's too bad, because I kind of liked the purple color that I was getting. You can see that this one is a lot more liquidy than... The green is more liquidy than the yellow. In fact, the yellow is already solid. The green is on its way to solid. And boy, is he heavy. And our bunny, our standing bunny... Well, I just poured him, but I know that he has more water. Maybe that's why the red didn't mix. I'm doing that thump thing, so hopefully any bubbles will rise to the top. You know, I call it the cake drop. You bake a cake and you pour the batter in and you kind of shimmy it and kind of slam it on the counter. Well, not slam it, but you know, I call it the cake drop because that's what I do. I do it when I make cakes and I'm doing it here. All right, we're going to leave these alone. And when they are, I'm going to give them about 45 minutes. And then I'm going to put them in my heat box with my chalk and let them finish curing up. And we will see you back here. Now, these should be able to demold within 45 minutes. However, I know that these two, I put a lot of liquid in it. So it's going to take a little bit longer. This one is solid. If I wanted to, oh no. I was like, oh no, there's a bubble. No, it's not. It's a separation in his feet. If I really wanted to, I could probably unmold him now. Yeah, see? I could unmold him now. But I'm not. I'm going to leave him alone. And we'll be back when it's time to demold our hostess gifts and our kitty sidewalk chalk. See you in a bit. Okay, these bunnies are done. They sat in the... Oh, hello, Pepsi. Hello. So they sat out. To be honest, not very long. I moved them fairly quickly, which is why, and you'll see in a minute here, I spilled some of my purple onto my green. Cleanup here is easy. It's knockoff. Where it's not going to be easy is the color. Okay, so let me... Okay. I'm going to pop Mr. Bunny out of his hidey hole here. Yeah. And there he is. Now, I can still feel the moisture in it. That's to be expected. It is perfect cast after all. But look at that. He stands up. And once I wipe out all of the powder, then these are washable. You know, any left behind powder. I just, don't want it going down my sink. All right, so that's one. That's Mr. Standy Bunny. And I poured some purple on his foot. Didn't mean to. This was the cast, which is why it stained my mold. Not worried about that. It's not going to be there, even though it's going to look purpley the next time around, even after I wash it. Oh, come on. It will not transfer over to the next piece. There we go. All right. Now, remember, I didn't have enough to fill up this mold, and I didn't care because it's still thick enough. Look how thick it is. It's still thick enough that it's going to stand. There we go. I put them up against each other. It's barely thinner than their friend. Okay, so these are done. We're going to, I'm going to wipe this off so to get the colors because they're still wet. Well, not wet, damp. We're going to leave them alone. We're going to let them dry. The rest of my chalk is still cooking in the dehydrator box because much wet. So
a little while later.
So while we're waiting for our egg chalk to be done, our hostess gifts are completely dried. They have sat on their own. They've gone through the dehydrator twice, once in the mold and then once removed, and you can feel them. They are dry to the touch now. Whereas when they were first taken out, you could feel the moisture coming through. Now, I have gone through with my deburring tool and gone around the edges because the molds were not completely full, and they did shrink a little because, the water evaporated. So I just used my deburring tool and then I went over with my sanding block to make it flat. Now, most likely by the end, by the time all is said and done, I will put a piece of probably felt right here because that's my stand-up point. But I'm not going to do it now. I'm not going to do it yet. I actually think maybe they could dry a little bit longer because I do see certain spots that look a little darker than others, and that's moisture. It'll come out on its own as long as I don't seal it yet. So I take my deburring tool. I go over, find a spot, and just scrape off the edges. Remember how this one, the red, for some reason, kept rising to the top and going towards the edges? You can see that here. When it dried that way, red at the edges. And as I use the deburring tool, the lavender color comes back to the forefront. So weird, right? The red just totally went to the edges and rose. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. That's good. And he does have little darker areas. Some areas are darker than others. So that means that there's still moisture in there. Now, our yellow. And yeah, you can see it there too. I take my debur. That yellow ended up being very nice. I did have to put quite a bit more than I thought I was going to, but it is a very nice, bright, exactly what I was looking for, sunshiny, lemony yellow. Yellow. My grandfather used to say that when he'd answer the phone. And just around the inside of that heart. And then again, flat. Lovely. Lovely. So I will allow them to continue to cure up. And then when we come back, we will get our chalk, which should be done by then, which, to be completely honest with you, will be tomorrow because that red paint is not setting up. I may end up having to scrap it and start over with that one. But the blue is so far is very pretty. So we will wait and see what happens tomorrow and go from there. All right. So we're going to leave these bunnies here to finish drying up, and we'll see you in a bit. Bye. And we're back, and it is the next morning, and I'm going to tell you that the red did not work. It had way too much moisture in it because what we forgot was that temper paint had been dried out and we had added water to it. Now, this is way prior to our original test pieces, and shook it up. But basically that we added water to water and way too much water. So it didn't come out. So I ended up having to squeeze it out of the mold, and I shaped it with my hand. It's not beautiful. It's not perfect. And I probably wouldn't, well, no, if I had a little, I'd probably give it to them because they wouldn't care. But I ended up taking them out and I shoved the moisture chalk that would not set up inside of the mold into a more open flower mold and let that dehydrate as it will. Now these came out, well, the blue, this was the blue that we worked on. There are holes, and that's because of my not tapping it well. So when you put it in, you make sure that you tap all those air bubbles out before you add in your next section. So that was my bad. There are holes in that one. Less on the pink one, but there are holes. That actually, I did that when I was demolding it. But what we're going to do, and then I made another purple one. Again, not beautiful, but it is homemade. And we're going to go test them out with our test pieces that we had made prior, because I wanted to make sure that the color worked. And these we did with a handmade mold out of cardboard and tape, which we got that idea from a video which I will link down below. But I will link it if possible. And so we're going to take these out and have the kid test them, and we'll show you that it does work and it does erase, I guess. I mean, you can wash it. It's washable. What color? Which color eggs do you want to try? The pink, or the purple, the blue? You want to try all of them? Okay. All right. We will take you outside and I'll show you what we got. Hold on. Would that be okay for little hands, do you think?
My hands are little.
Okay, this is one of the test pieces that we did. We did that in, no, red or orange.
Oh, red. It came out pinkish though.
Yeah.
That's cute. That's cute.
That is cute. That's the blue that we just did. Wow, that's a nice blue.
It is.
That's a very pretty green. Oh, you made a leaf.
The leaf. Yes.
Leave me alone.
Well, find it.
This is the purple.
It's a very ugly star.
But it's a pretty purple.
It is. It is a pretty purple.
Yellow.
Yellow.
Do you think when you were little, you would have liked these in your Easter basket?
Yes. Well, maybe not this one.
The mutant egg. That's an alien egg. If you know, alien egg. Yeah. Oh, but what a color!
Alien.
Yep. It's a happy alien.
It's happy.
Oh, that's a nice orange.
I'm trying to color it in and I'm messing up my beautiful line art.
Orange alien.
Yep, because I already
Aren't they
used the
supposed to?
green.
How did the little flowers come? Did the flower? Because those are the ones that, yeah, they were the uglies, and so I just took them out and put them in.
How rude!
Okay, they were not setting properly, so I took them out and put them in a more open mold. Okay, would you be able to, as a little, what do you think about that size-wise for hands?
I like.
So there's an idea for molds, you know, you can use, that is just a basic candy mold that you find at, you know, Walmart
Everywhere.
or Michael's or something. Yeah, so it's much more open than the eggs, so easier for the moisture to escape. So that's good. They worked. Oh, that's a really pretty flower. Okay. Thank you very much. Now we're going to try and make sure that they are washable. Hang on.
Time to destroy it.
Oh, time to destroy it. Sorry, kid. Let's find out if these are washable. Ready?
It should be, but maybe have like a brush. Oh, look.
Yep, it is. It is.
My poor flower.
Bye-bye, flower.
And now,
Yep.
guess what?
What?
I'm cold.
So if we had the water hose, that would... So it worked. It completely worked. The formula is sound. There you have it. Our chalk formula was completely sound. It worked. It worked color-wise and was able to be washed out. I would suggest using either an open mold or like these worked really well. It was cardboard, just a manila folder that we had put tape on both sides to waterproof it. We put duct tape on the bottom here and then just filled the mold that way using a knife. And it took some time. It was definitely a 2.5, 3 day project to let it all dry out, but it worked. These worked in the mold as well, but as you can see, we have more holes in these than we did in that. So probably because I didn't push it through with the knife. An open mold, such as, gummy bears or, your basic candy molds. Any of
Gummy
those.
bears, Legos.
Yep, Legos, ducks.
To be fair, I've seen open molds that are crayon shaped or stick shaped.
Absolutely. Those would work really well because there's more area open to allow the moisture to escape. That's what we need. So that works really well. These are our hostess gifts, and I've decided to just leave them alone. Kid likes them plain. Of course, you could always jazz them up with some rhinestones or stickers or even a pretty ribbon. Unfortunately, I don't have any springtime ribbons, so I'm going to leave them alone. I know you do. You do think they're cute. So, that would be a nice hostess gift. Just any old day decor. It really doesn't even have to be Easter, but it very much it says to me Easter
Like if
right
you
now.
like bunnies, you like bunnies.
If you like bunnies, that's the yep.
Restricted to seasonal. If you only seasonally like bunnies, what is wrong with you?
Well, what seasoning would you put on your bunnies?
Excuse me. I am leaving. I am upset. Goodbye.
It's rabbit season. Thank you for joining us here in the game room. I had fun. I tried something new. I'm jazzed that it worked. I hope that you learned something new too. Please join us again next week. I'm not sure what we're doing, but whatever it is, we will endeavor to make it fun. In the meantime, don't forget to play. See you soon. Bye.